Hello again, everyone. I'm Vince. This is Jimmy, and we're at Couch Coaching. We're talking about the 2013 Oakland Raiders and their second quarter of the season. And, look, the Raiders in the first quarter of the season, they went 1-3. I was expecting 2-2. I can't remember what Jimmy had said.
I think I had 0-3.
I think he had 0-4. 1-3. 1-3, because we both predicted they would beat Jacksonville.
Right.
And your prediction was correct. They did go 1-3. But this is what I'm going to say, and I don't know if you guys do or don't watch the show, but those of you that do watch the show know that I've been pining away. I've been on my soapbox since last year for Terrell Pryor to have an opportunity to play quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. Now look, we're 1-3. That first week we had a real opportunity to win that game.
Yep.
We had a real opportunity to win that game against the Colts. We lost 21-17. Inexperience is what, in my opinion, is what cost us to lose that game. Second week we played the Jacksonville Jaguars. Enough said. We won that game.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is horrible. I don't know what they're gonna do going forward, but they are straight horrible. The following week we played a Monday night game against the Denver Broncos, and look, Denver did to us what they've been doing to everybody.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is that Denver's Denver, and Denver's been on that rolling ever
since all hell Peyton arrived. They've been great, and they're otherworldly this year.
Right, and I just don't see a lot of people stopping them.
Right.
Because again, we're all predicting. Everybody's predicting Super Bowl's going through Denver.
Right.
So
Yeah. The
Denver,
AFC is going through Denver. Exactly.
We're not saying Denver's going to go. I'm just saying that the AFC Championship game is going to be in Denver. And that's where it's going to be. So whoever's going to go to Super Bowl is going to have to go to Denver. And if it happens to be Denver, then so be it. If it's not, then it's because they had to play Denver and to beat Denver to go.
Right. And then we lost that fourth game to the Washington Redskins, 24-14. But Terrell Pryor was out. He had some concussion issues, didn't pass the safety protocol, which I'm so glad that the NFL is doing this now. The kind of thing they're doing it in hindsight. But, he didn't pass the concussion protocol. So they started Matt Flynn. And look, Matt Flynn, I don't understand how a guy can have one good game in Green Bay, and he's parlayed this into over $20 million.
Who's paying him $20 million?
Well, I'm just talking about when he went to Seattle and they paid him a chunk of money.
Right.
This year we having to pay him guaranteed money. I think 6.5.
Well, the deal is that with that one game, what it did, it made everybody who needed the quarterback look at him, because in that draft that came up with RG3 and Luck, you weren't, unless you again were Indianapolis and Washington, you weren't getting those guys, and then there was really nobody else coming out that draft that you could, oh wow, we've got a franchise guy. So that was the whole deal. Tannehill, I think, was in that last year's draft?
Yes.
So
he was in that draft as well.
He was in that draft too, but I think with that whole deal, Tannehill is who Tannehill's always been in A&M as well.
Right.
Pat Sherman knew that. That's the reason why Pat Sherman drafted him, is because Pat Sherman knew what he had in him, and he knew that he's worked with him for that long.
He knew a little bit more about him than the other people did. Exactly.
Right, and that's the deal. So I'm actually like you. I'm actually glad that they gave Terrell Pryor a shot. I'm not going to say he's the Oakland Raiders savior or what have you, but I'm glad to see they've given him a shot, because what they're doing now is they're opening the eyes of other teams to let them know, hey, maybe we've got an offensive coordinator that can work with this.
I feel like going forward, and I'm not gonna say that Super Bowl 2015 here we come. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, not this year. But I'm not saying that we're going by any stretch of the imagination, right?
I say like this: as long as Peyton Manning wears the Broncos uniform,
yeah,
y'all ain't going.
It's not happening. It's not happening. Not in the division. That's because that's two losses we're gonna have right off the top of this at the season, beginning of the season. But the interesting thing to me that came out of this last loss is, again, we gave up $6.5 million to get Matt Flynn in a Raider uniform, plus some draft picks in Seattle. And again, he couldn't beat Russell Wilson now. This is not a knock against Russell Wilson in Seattle. This is just a fact.
Right.
He didn't beat out Russell Wilson, so you bring him in, and Reggie McKenzie, this is a misstep. you misstepped on this one. You overthought this one. You know, because I know you saw Matt Flynn up there when you were with in the Green Bay Packers organization, but you had Terrell Pryor on your roster the entire time. I kind of feel like it's what you were saying, Jimmy, at the beginning. Terrell Pryor is not our guy, but talent is talent.
Right, and I think that he has more talent than Matt Flynn.
He has more talent than Matt Flynn.
And I think he's shown that because, again, he's your starter. So this is the same guy that you had on your roster to begin with, that you didn't need to bring in Matt Flynn.
Right.
Because, again, he started week 1.
Right.
Terrell Pryor started week 1. Matt Flynn didn't. Terrell Pryor did. So now you've got Terrell Pryor starting, and you owe someone $6.5 million. You cannot get ahead in that division and that as a team if you're making costly decisions.
Throwing away money like that. We already been throwing away money as an organization for the past several years, and now you're gonna throw away that $6.5 million on a third string quarterback because he got demoted after the game.
And that's the thing is that if you look at all the elite teams, Denver, Steelers here in the past years, not necessarily this year, but in the past years, Green Bay here recently, of course New England, and all of them, all the elite teams, they're not just throwing money in.
Right.
They're thinking about the process.
Right.
We'll bring you in, try you out, but if you can't beat our second guy, we don't need you.
Right. So
here's the game. Here's the deal. If we're going in with our second or third guy,
right,
we're not planning on winning that game either.
Anyway, right, exactly.
I mean, so we don't need to pay you $6.5 or $7.0 million
right,
to come in and take up a spot when I can go sign another linebacker.
Right.
I can go sign a cornerback, a running back. I can sign up anybody else I need.
Or I can go try to I can try to put that money aside to where, again, when free agency comes about or a trade.
I can do what Tennessee did and go put $100 million on talent.
Right, on talent, right.
I mean, and that's the thing is that when you're doing crazy things like that, you cannot succeed as an organization.
Right.
I mean, just think back whenever the Raiders were irrelevant, back when Jerry Rice and all of them were there.
Right.
You had the money to pay Jerry Rice to bring him over here after he left San Francisco.
Right.
Came over here, put on a Raiders uniform. You had the money to pay him. That organization was set for a while. Made it all the way down to the Super Bowl. Now y'all didn't win.
Right. But it made it to the Super Bowl, exactly. Went to the Super I'm made several playoff appearances during that.
Right.
During that
I mean, y'all would have made it to the Super Bowl if it wouldn't have been for the Tuck rule.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna bring that up.
I'm just saying. I had to bring it up.
Which no longer exists. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that anymore. Anyway, I'm done with that. We're gonna talk about the next quarter. See, y'all started getting on that soapbox about that stupid Tuck rule. Chime in, Raider fans. You know how I feel. Okay, so the Raiders in the second quarter of the season, they'll be playing first. Let me see. I'm sorry. First, they'll be playing the San Diego Chargers at home at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Because that's correct. Because the Oakland Raiders and the Oakland A's couldn't get it together.
Oh, that's the same reason why the Denver Broncos and the defending champions had to play in the Broncos at their home instead of playing at Baltimore's house because the baseball
opening season. Right?
Who even cares about baseball?
Well, look, baseball's America's pastime. You better stop that.
I will throw something at you. Look, we're all football fans here.
Right.
Football has been and always will be the number one sport. Simple as that. So, yeah. So, the heck with baseball.
The problem is that we're playing we're the only team in the league, and this irks me every time I see that dirt on the field. We're the only team in the league that's sharing a field with another major sports team. That's the problem. But having said that, I feel like San Diego is living on borrowed time. I think they're 2-2 at this point in the season, and I think we're going to win that game. It's going to be a primetime game on the West Coast because that's right. That's like Monday night type football time, Sunday night football time for them on the West Coast. I think we'll win that game. I think Terrell Pryor is going to go off and we'll win that game.
I think San Diego is on borrowed time. I really do. Yeah. You know what? I am going to go ahead and say Oakland will win that game. I was kind of leaning back towards San Diego because of course, I've seen what Phillip Rivers and all them have done on offense and all that. But
with Floyd being out,
I am going to go ahead and say that Oakland, I'm not going to say should easily win that game, but they should win that game.
Right. It's
a very winnable game for them.
My problem, and I think that this problem is going to go away at the end of this season. I'm so glad that they decided to bring in Rashard Jennings, because again, here we are again, and Darren McFadden is hurt. Darren. I'm not gonna say call it a career, but you can call it a career in Oakland. I don't think we need to be bringing him back, wasting that time, that kind of time, the time and money on a guy that can't stay healthy at all. And I can't. Some people just injury prone. I wish Darren the best. He's saying he's a really good guy.
Well, see, that's the thing is that I think a lot of it though is the fact that what's hurting him a lot in Oakland is that he's your workhorse.
Right.
You have no legitimate number 2 guy behind him.
Well, Jennings.
Well, now that Jennings is there,
right? Now he's there, right?
But last year and the year before that, you had Reese and all them. But Reese and all them was your fullback as well.
And the funny you say that, because the thing about it is that when we had Michael Bush there, it didn't hurt us that Darren McFadden will be out.
Right, because
you had a legitimate number 2 guy,
right? Your number 1 guy,
right?
And of course, Bush said he left because he didn't want to be a backup, and of course he went to Chicago and he's backing up Matt Forte, which, hey, it's his life. He can do what he wants to.
He went for the money. I'm not hating on that either.
No, that's the other thing. If you keep throwing away money, you cannot keep your players that you need to keep, and that's simple as that. So yeah, I do believe that Darren McFadden's time with the Raiders is done. And if it's not done, again, that's another stupid move by them. Because I cannot see you keep paying money to a guy
that can't
stay healthy. As simple as that. You just can't.
Right.
So you can easily go into the draft and get somebody for cheaper and work them out.
Right.
Go pick up somebody else. Maybe he does still have valuable talent where you can still go trade him for something.
Right. Before the end of the season or something.
Right.
Get something for him, because I just don't think we need to move. We need to be moving forward and need to, like I say, break the shackles of all this stuff that has been keeping us, underfoot, so to speak. Because we've been making some bad decisions financially. So I hope the best. Maybe Darren McFadden will play. Maybe he'll play next week and he'll just go out go out of this world and be crazy good. But having said that, I don't see it happening either.
Because even if he does that, that's not going to say he's not going to get hurt doing it.
Right, exactly. So I think that with Jennings as a running back and Marcel Reese splitting time with him, and Terrell Pryor being under center, and on the defense starting to come around, I think that they'll win that game against San Diego.
I do too.
Now the next game they'll be playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't feel as confident about that game against.
I don't either. The way Kansas City's been playing, and the way Andy Reid's been going in there, and like I said, kudos to him. I think we talked about it in the Dallas segment that we normally do.
All right.
Kudos to him. I mean, Andy Reid's turned that organization around.
Exactly.
And I think that team has something to play for.
Right.
I don't think they'll beat Denver when the time comes, but I think in that division, the way they're playing, they have a legitimate shot of going to the playoffs. And I think that with that defense, the way that it is, and Alex Smith just making smart decisions,
right?
He's not gonna throw for 300 and something yards,
right?
But he'll throw for 2 touchdowns,
right?
No interception,
no turnovers.
That's the key part. Are you winning the turnover battle? And he has been winning turnover. He did the same thing in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, people forget in San Francisco he was a first round pick there too.
Right.
In San Francisco, whenever Singletary was there.
Yeah, I think John. I didn't mean to cut y'all, but I think Harbaugh coached him up really well and gave him his confidence back.
Right.
Even though they kind of left him out, out hanging.
Well, I'm not gonna say let them out hanging. I think he understood the situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people know that when you bring in a new head coach, he's gonna want to bring in his guys. So John kind of said, look, we'll put you out there for a little bit. I'm gonna coach up Kaepernick to where we want him to be. Right. Eventually, of course, situation came up to where I think Alex got hurt.
Yeah.
And so that's what sprung Kaepernick in. Because I don't think they were trying to throw Kaepernick in there before Alex to begin with. I think they really honestly wanted
give him a couple years or whatever,
give him a year underneath Alex and still trying to coach him up. But I think once he got hurt and it sprung him into it, I think they just had no choice but to go ahead and just let Alex know, hey, look, it's no hard feelings, man, but we're going to go ahead and go in with our guy that we originally came up with.
Right.
So that's normally the way it happens. When a head coach comes in and drafts somebody, pretty much that's the guy that's going to be replacing you.
Which probably can further explain, like we were talking about earlier with Terrell Pryor, and why Allen and Reggie didn't want to really fool with him, so to speak, because that wasn't their guy.
Right.
Not to say that. I mean, they didn't draft Flynn, but Reggie thought he knew Matt Flynn from working with Matt Flynn all those years up in Green Bay.
Well, obviously he didn't.
Obviously he didn't.
So again, we have another Lane Kiffin. Is that the guy that y'all had before that?
Look, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it again. I think they need to give Dennis an honest shot. I don't want the coaching carousel to continue here in Oakland.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
You gotta let it go. I mean, this is stuff right here. You gotta give them a shot.
Right.
You can't just keep. Well, we're not going to go anywhere. We're at the last point of the division or what have you.
I'm gonna fire that
Go
guy.
ahead and fire you.
Right.
You're not going to do anything because by that time you're going to bring somebody else, and guess where you're going to be at? The last player in the division again.
Right.
So, look, that's just not the way you do business.
Right.
So I do believe Kansas City will win that game.
Yeah, I think Kansas City will win that game as well. So that means we'll be 1-1 at that quarter at this junction in the season, and then they play the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. And look. Jimmy and I decided that, because Jimmy's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm a big Raider fan, we decided we're going to put a wager on this one. So when my picks, dang.
Yeah, when you're
I'm jacking that all up, man. When my Oakland Raiders win, when my Oakland Raiders win, Jimmy's going to wear silver. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers win, I'm going to wear something yellow in this segment and in the Pittsburgh Steelers segment. So please tune in to see who will be wearing what.
You know what? I'm not even going to stoop down to that level about pointing and all this kind of stuff. I'm letting you know now. I don't have anything silver. I'm not planning on buying anything silver. So therefore, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go pointing fingers over here at all, like this gentleman next to me.
So having said that, this is I'm trying to be a good host here, and I'm going to look at this with an open mind. I do feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers will win this game, but I don't wear them playing anything yellow, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does because see, the biggest problem I'm having is because my mind drifts back to last year. We could have easily won that game. We should have won that game.
Yep.
But it came down to a freaking 60-yard field goal attempt that should have never went through, but it did because your guy's a freaking mutant or what have you.
Yeah.
And so I hope, like I said, I hope you get tendonitis in your toe.
You my dog.
I hope you get tendonitis in your toe. Really, I do. I can't stand that guy. So yeah, I do believe Pittsburgh should, because they are at a rough spot right now. They are coming off their bye, and they should be able to stack up a couple of wins in this next little deal. I think they should beat Oakland. The only reason why I say that is because Pryor being still he's not a rookie, but he's first year.
He's still learning. He's still learning the position, right?
Throw everything he possibly can think of.
Right, exactly.
And because Dick LeBeau loves, rookies, and he loves guys who's never been under center a whole lot.
Right.
And that's just what he does. He likes to get you thinking one way, and he'll zing you with another. So get you overthinking. So yeah, I do believe Steelers will win that game. But again, it all depends on that 60-yard BS kick.
Hopefully it'll come down to a field goal kick that the Oakland Raiders will make. But I don't know. He's been kind of shaky this year because Shane Leckler now plays for the Texans, and we have King, who's his holder now, and he's missed a couple of makeable kicks this season. But that's kind of like you got to get used to something.
Excuses.
Something new.
Excuses are excuses, sir.
Just facts.
I'm just saying.
But I do feel like we both agree that Pittsburgh will win that game, but I don't plan on wearing anything yellow.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see about that.
So the following game, it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles coming to Oakland as well. And look, Philadelphia, that with Chip Kelly as their new head coach and this high-powered offense that this high play offense. I'm not going to call it high-powered, high play offense.
Did Chip Kelly coach Pryor?
No.
No?
No.
Pryor went to Ohio, didn't he?
Yeah, Chip Kelly coached at Oregon.
Oh, okay, yeah. One of them.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I think Oakland will be able to win that game. And Jimmy's going to share their stats right now, comparatively speaking, with the rest of the league.
I meant to do this earlier, but we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
So right now, the Raiders are actually 20th in total yards per game with 338. They're 26th in passing yards per game with 200. 6 actually. 6
in passing.
And rushing.
In rushing.
137.
And that's really on the shoulders of Terrell Pryor's ability to make plays out of the pocket.
Right. And then they're 25th with points per game with 17. And then this is a killer, 38% third down efficiency.
Got to get better third down.
And then they are ranked 17 with yards allowed with 349.
Mm-hmm.
So, all in all, with Terrell Pryor as an offensive standpoint, the only bad thing I can look at and really see is third down efficiency. I mean, your passing will come when you start getting familiarized with the playbook of the game.
Exactly.
He's only been in there for 4 games. You know, you really can't, and actually, he's only been there for 3 because he was hurt during one.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, that 200 passing yards that they're averaging, you know, that all falls down when you get familiarized. I mean, they're 6th overall in rushing, and they're 20th in total yards with 338.
Which is not bad. It's like middle of the pack, you know, because it's 32 teams. It's actually a little less than middle of the pack. My thing about it is, and I said this in the first segment, and I'm standing to this. The Raiders, I know the Raiders aren't going to go to the playoffs this year. I know that. We know that. Again, I don't know why you bring in Matt Flynn when you got this guy on your roster anyway, but I digress. Let's just make steps in the right direction. Terrell Pryor, again, I said this before, I've said it many times. If you agree with me, please make some comments at the bottom of the page. Terrell Pryor, even though we got him for the compensatory pick and got him for third round value, he's first round value if he hadn't gotten in trouble with in Ohio State. The kid has talent. You know, so if we can just go forward and just move forward, look, if we finish 6-10, I'd be okay. If we finish 8-8, I'd be ecstatic. But as long as we making strides in the right direction, that's all I care about.
I'll say it like this. I mean, as long as you do better than last year.
That's it. As long as we do better than 4-12.
Right.
I'm okay.
Because the deal is that what Pryor gives you, he gives you 2 things. Either A, versatility on offense.
Right.
Or 2, B, he gives you an opportunity to trade value.
Right.
Because now you're playing him, now other teams can see what he's got. Because even though personally you may not think he's a good quarterback, or he doesn't have pocket awareness, or he doesn't do this, or he doesn't do that, there's still somebody out there that can honestly say he's better than Blaine Gabbert.
Right. Right.
So there's some kind of value you can get from him. And I mean, let's look at it like this. Tim Tebow, sorry excuse for a quarterback. He beat us in the playoffs though. But I tell you this much. Dude, that guy cannot throw. He's not a quarterback in the NFL. He's not a quarterback to this day in the NFL.
Right.
And still, he was drafted to the Denver Broncos, did fairly well, and it was passed on to New England. And I mean, so you don't know what a guy's potential is unless you play him.
That's it.
And that's why I'm glad that they did play Terrell Pryor.
Right.
But going to our game right here to Philadelphia, I honestly believe with Chip Kelly, I think Philadelphia will win that game.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna let the homer come out of me in this one. Yeah, because if we're gonna finish better than we did last year, these are the kind of games we got to win.
Right.
So I'm gonna say that we'll win that game, because the thing about it is that as good as Philadelphia's offense is, their defense is on the other side of that. I mean, it's terrible.
Right.
So I think that we'll be able to have some big those big chunk plays on this defense. And I'm not gonna say we're gonna outscore Philadelphia, but we'll be able to keep their offense subdued enough to where we can win the game.
Right.
So I think that we'll win that matchup.
All right, so I've got them going losing into I got them losing into San Diego.
Right.
And I got them lose. No, I got them. I'm sorry, I got them winning in San Diego. So I've got them 1-1, and then 2-1, and then I got Philadelphia beating them. So I've got them 2-2.
Right. Yep, 2-2. That's what I think we both agreed on
San Diego.
Yeah, being 2-2.
And then we both agreed on KC.
So we agreed all the way down. Yeah,
no, I believed in Philadelphia.
Right.
I think Philadelphia got them.
Oh, you said Philadelphia's going to win?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got them going 2-2 as well. And you know, look, the thing about it is that if you're going to be better, some of these games you got to win. The Kansas City game, because it's a rivalry game, and there's a possibility that we can win that game, because it's not like Kansas City's blowing doors off people, but they're winning. The Pittsburgh game, because Pittsburgh has played poorly up to this point in the season, it's a winnable game. So somewhere off in there, you got to figure out a way, because again, we could have easily been 2-4. The first quarter was 2-2. I'm sorry.
I have to make a correction. I have them going 1-3.
Right, 1-3.
1-3. You got them going 2-2.
Right. So we could have easily been at least 2-2 at the first quarter season, if not
for Matt
3-1.
Yeah, if not for Matt Flynn.
Because we could have beat Washington, even though the final outcome was 24-14. We could have beat Washington. You know, Matt Flynn, I think he threw a pick 6 in that game. I know he just played terrible.